Hello and welcome to 50/50 on Below Deck Radio 102.9. My name is Anthony and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Sophie Budgeon.
Hello everyone, and once again, thank you for tuning in. We have an amazing show for you today.
We do indeed, as it is based around the controversial topic of feminism. You identify as a feminist, don't you, Soph?
I do indeed, and I have been a feminist for quite a few years now, and I believe it should be a topic that we should talk about more in 2018.
Well, today we are going to be finding a lot more about the topic and what it actually means to the people of this society. We have exclusive interviews, we have interactive features with Mr. Charlie Corbett over here with a game of Trivial Pursuit Feminist Edition.
I cannot wait for that. But before that, guys, we sent our correspondents Charlie Ewan and Tom Glasspool around the campus of Solent University to find a little more about the topic.
Thank you very much, Anthony. I'm here with Tom Glasspool.
Hello.
We'll be conducting some interviews for the general public on their opinions about feminism.
What does feminism mean to you?
I believe it's about the equity and equality provided between both sexes.
So feminism means to me equality, just trying to get women the same rights as men.
And do you feel there is still an obvious wage gap between men and women?
I didn't think there was a big wage gap between men and women until I started researching about in the BBC.
Personally, I've never noticed this, mainly because I've only ever been working in work that's, sort of minimum wage.
Should the branding of products be completely gender neutral?
I think it's ridiculous. Like, it's a brand name.
It depends on the context, mainly because of the destination. Obviously, if you have a product that's particular to a man, say, male shampoo, has a particular smell, obviously you're going to want to direct that towards the more, male aspect of the population.
And that was Tom and Charlie getting a quick insight into the world of feminism.
Yes, and now we are going to be diving even deeper with our exclusive interviews with members of the society. So first off, we're going to be listening to Sophie's exclusive interview with former Vice President of the Feminist Society, Daniela Palmer.
Hi, I'm Sophie Budgeon. I'm here with Daniela, the former Vice President of the Feminist Society at Solent University. I'm going to ask her a few questions about feminism and being a feminist. Why is feminism so important?
Okay, so it wasn't that long ago that women were seen as inferior to men. And although we came a long way, and obviously 100 years ago here in this country we started having the right to vote and everything, there's still a lot of aspects in our society where women are disadvantaged in regard, if you compare to men. For example, when it comes to equal pay, the gender pay gap is still a reality. When it comes, you could see like from last year, the Me Too movement, you saw like all the problems that are related to sexual violence that still affect women nowadays. And domestic abuse and everything, there's still a lot of topics where women haven't reached equality. However, feminism is also about getting equality for men. And in departments like mental health, the stigma around it for men is still there. And that's another thing that feminism is trying to fight for, is the right for everyone to express themselves and not be ashamed of asking for help in any department when it comes to health, including mental health.
Yeah, is there anyone who inspires you as a feminist?
I think there are a lot of people that inspire me. I think one of the first ones was definitely Emma Watson with a UN speech years ago. But for me, and like nowadays, when it comes to feminism, you can focus on a lot of problems and issues. And one that I've been focusing quite a lot is on body positivity.
I agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. And with me as well, like I was in a Catholic school for 15 years. And I remember I had religious education, and one of teachers, I think he used to be a priest or something, he was saying bad things about feminists because I think there's this wall in Jerusalem, I think it's there, that you can touch it, but like men need to go one way, women need to go the other. And he was criticizing feminists that were trying to send a message by going to the men's side. And I'm like, okay, so what's the issue with that?
And yeah, I think the fact that in that environment for 15 years, since I was 3 until I was 18, and I came to uni to a different country, which was, I'm from Portugal, by the way, which was, I do think you guys have like a really broad mentality. Like, you're so much more open to these ideas, while back at home it's definitely not like that. It's changing. I took my mum to her first feminist panel last year, and she is 48, and she thought the idea that feminism was about equality was just not for her. She thought it was, as I said before, about women being superior to men. And I took her to that talk, and at the end of it, the joy that I had of hearing my mum saying, "Oh, actually, I am a feminist." Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, see, like, my childhood, I was the middle child, so I have an older brother.
Yeah.
I was quite lucky in the sense my parents gave me a lot of his toys. They brought me into, like, they were like, it's okay to play with cars, it's okay to do this. And my dad works in IT, and he pushes girls now. Like, he's working with the government to try and get girls into technology-related subjects.
Yeah.
And he, like, as a kid, he used to build computers with me to show me it's
Oh, wow.
okay for a girl to do this.
It's more than okay. It's brilliant. Like,
So-
you shouldn't really separate gender by you should do this, this, and that. Like, do whatever you want. Do whatever you like. And, yeah.
Thank you, Daniela, for your amazing insight on feminism, and thank you for your time for being here today.
Wow. I mean, that girl really does know her stuff on feminism. I mean, I definitely learned a lot from her, Sophie.
Thank you very much, Anthony. However, we have another interview conducted by Charlie Corbett speaking to a devout feminist, Beth Goodwin. Take it away, Charlie.
Hi, my name's Charles Corbett, and I'm joined today with a feminist. So, what's your name?
My name's Beth Goodwin.
Are you a feminist?
Yes, I am.
What does feminism mean to you?
Feminism means equality for all. So despite your gender, you're not oppressed.
Have you ever been objectified as a woman?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've multiple people out on the street have catcalled or made passes at me, and it's been very appropriate just because they think they can as a man.
Do you feel that feminism can hurt having a career?
I think that a lot of people's attitudes toward feminism nowadays means that women think that they are somehow superior to men. They don't fully understand the fact that it's equality. And also women in the workplace, if you look at the gender wage gap and such as other things like that, the amount of women CEOs to male CEOs, I think that it does heavily affect the workplace as well.
Do you feel like men don't like being called feminists?
I think that some men are afraid of it. You can ask a man, "Oh, do you believe in equality?" and they'll say yes, and then you can ask them, "Oh, then does that mean you're a feminist?" and they'll be like, "No." So I think that men don't fully understand, not all men, but some don't fully understand, and also women sometimes don't fully understand that feminism means equality. It doesn't mean that you are for or against a certain gender. So I think that men oftentimes turn their noses up if you call yourself a feminist.
Who is your biggest inspiration as a feminist?
I'd say people in the media who use their fame or their platform to get a voice heard, like people like Emma Watson, she did the Time's Up campaign, people who supported the Me Too campaign, big stars such as Ariana Grande, who will always rise against someone who is rude to them because of their gender and who oppress them because they feel like they can. So just there are multiple people that you can look up to in every industry who are women who support feminism and also speak about it.
Have you ever felt that feminism has been twisted and used not in the way that it should be?
Yeah, I feel like it has. I feel like every person is ready to spring upon a woman who says she's a feminist if she's getting angry or if she feels the need to speak out. A lot of people maybe take that as being funny or being a joke when it shouldn't be that. And I feel like maybe if you proclaim yourself as a feminist, you're more likely to get more backlash than if you don't. So yeah, it does happen a lot. If you say you're a feminist, you're immediately going to be up for debate with someone just because they don't fully understand what it means.
Thank you for letting me interview you.
You're welcome.
And And that was Charlie Corbett and Beth Goodwin discussing both a male's and female's perspective on feminism. That was a really interesting view. Definitely different angle.
Yeah, definitely. However, we have even more for you now. We sent out Charlie Ewan to interview Kate Spencer, an 18-year-old photographer who is also a member of the Feminist Society at Solent University.
Hello everyone, this is Charlie Ewan. I'm here with Kate, who identifies herself as a feminist. The first question for you, Kate, is should men get equal representation in divorce?
I think men should get an equal representation in divorce because it should be like marriage where you have both parties that, you know, get their representation in marriage. You know, you want the man and the wife have to kind of like come together when they marry. And I feel like a divorce should be the same. There shouldn't be this like, you know, the woman gets more rights over the man. Like that's in itself is unequal. And I feel like feminists are all about being equal.
Okay, thank you very much. The next one is feminism ever even really necessary anymore?
I think that it is necessary because there are things like the pay gap, which is still a big issue. And, you know, men do get paid a lot more for the same jobs as women. And I do think personally that that is unfair. And I feel like that is mainly why I'm a feminist and why I think that there should be, you know, more done. Because I believe that there is still issues out there that need to be dealt with that aren't being dealt with. And I feel like feminism means that there's more chance of something being done.
Awesome, thank you. Have you ever done anything to help or support feminism?
I've been to multiple rallies and there's like support groups and meetings and things you can go to, and there's like Facebook group pages that you can be part of, and you can, you know, go and watch speeches by like amazing women who are feminists themselves, and you can really get an idea of what it means to be a feminist.
Awesome. Speaking about amazing women, is there anyone right now that inspires you or prods you to action?
I think Emma Watson's really good. I love her work that she does. You know, she's really dedicated to the cause of feminism and she's really, you know, put a lot behind it. And to see people like that putting so much work in and really getting women's views and everything put out there really does make a difference, because once you have a voice, I feel like you can't really be told no because you've got so much support. So I think she's a real inspiration.
Brilliant, thank you. Also, do you feel feminism is taken too far? Like, for example, products having to change their names because of certain, you know, issues with them?
I do think there is a limit, and I do think that some like feminists, personally, you know, I'm not including myself in this narrative, but I do think that some feminists do take it too extreme, and I think that there is just too much focus on like the little things when people like that tend to miss the big issues that feminists are really trying to deal with, which is like, you know, the pay gap, like I keep saying, like big issues in society that haven't been dealt with in ages. And I feel like that's more of an issue than, you know, a product changing its name because it doesn't quite sound right. I don't think that's really necessary.
Brilliant, thank you. Final question for you today, Kate, is what is your opinion on modern day feminism?
I think that modern day feminism is like based on like different like women and what they do in society and how society has basically like changed and how there are things that women still need, you know, approval of, like things like the pay gap and things like that. And I think, you know, it's all about women coming together to focus on like making these changes so the world's a better place for everyone and everything's a bit more equal.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. That was a great interview. Thank you.
Once again, another interesting view on the topic. I found it very interesting how she showed different sides of feminism that we haven't previously mentioned.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is obviously definitely a problem that does need to be fixed in our society.
But next, we are going back to our favourite feminist, Daniela. After giving such an insightful interview beforehand, we sent Anthony back to give her a wider perspective on feminism.
Danny. Hello, thank you very much for joining us today.
No worries, thank you for inviting me.
That's all right. Well, helping us out more than anything. But yeah, we've got a few questions for you because you say you identify as a feminist, right?
I do indeed.
You
do,
and
I'm a proud feminist.
So in that respect, then, would you say the movement's working? Would you say like the message of feminism is reaching out to more people?
It is getting there. However, I think there's a lot of people that think feminism is something that is not. A lot of people think that feminism is about women being superior to men.
Right,
which
yeah.
is definitely not the point. Definitely, that's not what feminism is. Feminism, simply, explain it in a simple way, is people are equal. It doesn't matter if you are a man, a woman, if you are identify as non-binary. It doesn't matter at all. And a lot of people miss the point because especially the media, they give a lot of importance when someone says something that's very shocking, and they say, oh, you women should be superior to men, and they get really offended when things that shouldn't really offend you are said, and that gives a lot of bad publicity to feminists, I think, nowadays. So that's why a lot of people identify as a feminist or being called a feminist, and there is a stigma around the word, which should definitely not exist.
See, it's funny you say that, because like when someone would say to me, they'd be like, "Oh, would you identify as a feminist?" I personally would never say I do, just because of the fact I've always seen that there is like a stigma around the word.
Yeah.
So I've always said that I stand more for equality.
I do have that discussion with a lot of my male friends, actually. They say, oh yeah, I'm all up for equality, and then I say, well, you're a feminist then. And they're like, no, I'm not a feminist, I'm an equalist. I'm like, which means you're a feminist. But like, because of the connotation of the word, there's this idea that is so bad for men, they refuse to accept that they are feminists. But by the fact that you accept that everyone is equal, you're there saying you are a feminist.
So it's essentially the exact same meaning, just a different word for it.
Just because that bit of the word, the femme part, is there, it's just a word, and just the way the word is written and said, it doesn't mean it's not there for everyone. As I said in the beginning as well, there are subjects and topics and problems that affect men nowadays that should be addressed, and feminism is there for that. And a lot of people don't realize that.
How do you see the world then in the next 10 years? So obviously we've now talked about how you in some way have like converted, like you said, your mum to becoming a feminist. Let's say.
Open her eyes, didn't convert her.
Exactly. So like how do you see the world in the next 10 years? Do you see the wage gap decreasing? Do you see women still being oppressed?
Right. So when it comes to gender pay gap, studies show that it's going to take around 100 years for it to close. Yeah. Women with degrees actually end up earning less than men without degrees. I was 16 and I had a bad result in a test, and she literally said this to me: do not worry, because men usually do better than girls.
So even she like had a completely.
She was like, don't worry about it, because it's okay that you're not okay with this. Like, you're not good at this because you're a woman.
Well, Danny, you seem to be more knowledgeable on the subject than both me and Sophie are.
Yeah, I was
on
going to
this.
say I've learned
Honestly,
more.
I've learned so much today just because of you. So thank you so much.
No worries.
Brilliant stuff there, Anthony. I hope that's not the last time we hear from Danny.
Well, something tells me it's not. But before that, Tom Glassball had a chat with student Grace Clark, who is also a member of the Feminist Society. So, over to you, Tom.
I'm here with...
Grace.
And do you consider yourself a feminist?
Yeah, because I'm a human being, so I think everybody should be a feminist because it stands for the equality of all genders and everybody.
Do you think genders are equal in modern day society?
Not at all. I think there's still massive gaps. I think there's been a lot of hard work done, but you still have like the gender pay gap, there's like massive Me Too movements, but then I think it goes the other way where there's still gaps between men as well about like toxic masculinity.
Do you think many people are aware of this?
I think women are aware of it. I think men are as well, but I think it's more in a negative light because of social media, and I think the Menist campaign as well has kind of shed like a really negative light over it, so I don't think people are aware of it in a positive way that it should be anymore.
What do you think could be done to change this?
I think maybe rebranding the feminist movement, making it more equal for both genders, which would kind of bring in both of the sexes and mean that everybody would work together, more promotion on social media, and I think teaching the younger generation as well and getting it ingrained in them from the start.
How do we educate youths about this?
I think education within like school systems, doing classes on it. Again, in universities, just keep having classes on like consent. But also, I think it's up to a parent's duty as well. I think you lay the foundations for your children and for youth. So it's, you know, men showing complete respect to women, women showing respect to men. And I think it really is family values at some point as well.
What is equality like on the university campus?
I think it's pretty equal on the university campus. But again, I think it's the attitudes that people have towards each other. I think the university strives and they do make it quite equal. It's just the students, obviously you still have your nightlife and you still have like dating apps and stuff. So you still have like girls being branded as sluts if they slept around, but guys aren't. And then I also think there's not enough women in sort of STEM courses, so in your science and technology and engineering. I know it's come in leaps and bounds the last few years, but I still think there needs to be more promotion of it, and I think the university would do really well if they promoted these courses more and aimed it more at women, so that they could bring them into the industry as well.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks again, Tom, for another insightful interview. These girls really know their stuff.
Well, Sophie, today we're going to be putting that knowledge to the test. We have a game of Trivial Pursuit with now our friend of the show, Daniela Palmer, based on what we've been talking about today, which obviously is feminism. So, let's see how she does.
Right, so would you say you're both quite well-endowed feminists?
I do my research.
Do you know your history and general knowledge, stuff about feminism like that?
I know like the ideas and theories and the events.
You should know a few things on this. I've made it quite hard.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll
so
see.
question number one. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah? What was the first country to give women the vote?
I kind of want to say the UK, but I don't think so. The Netherlands?
No.
I want to say England.
No, it was not England. It was a country in the Commonwealth of England.
Okay.
If that helps.
Canada?
No, do you want me to tell you?
Australia?
It was New Zealand, and it was in 1893. It was the first country to legally give women the right to vote.
Oh, didn't know that.
There you go. All right, so Charlie, you got the second one?
I do indeed. Ready, guys? What year was it in England that women gained voting right equal to men?
It was literally
Completely.
100 years ago in 1918.
No.
I'm awful maths, like 100 years ago.
Wasn't it 1920 something?
Very close.
Getting hot there.
I want to say 1924 just because 24 is burned in
Is
my
that your
brain.
final answer?
I want to say the year my granddad was born, 1928.
You are correct.
Ooh.
On to question 3. In 1913, a famous political member of the suffragette movements jumped in front of the King's horse at the Epsom Derby. Can you name her?
Emily Dawson.
Emily what?
Dawson?
Very close. I think Sophie's got it.
Davidson, isn't it? Emily Davidson.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, fourth question. When is International Women's Day?
11th of March.
No.
Oh my god, am I the only wrong? 6th of March, no.
No, very close.
I know it's March.
It's March, I could give you that.
8th.
8th, yep, correct. Friday the 8th of March.
Right, on to question 5. This is quite of a different question. Can you depict the iconic World War II propaganda that displays a powerful woman doing her part for the war effort? And for an extra point, can you name her? You doing the pose?
Yeah.
That is
Doing the
correct.
pose.
And he has a bandana on her head and everything.
But do you know her name?
I dressed up as her last Halloween.
I can give you a clue. The colour of her bandana is similar to her name.
Do you give up?
Yeah.
You were correct on the pose. So the propaganda displays the woman, Rosie the Riveter, because she was working in the factories, doing her part in the war effort. She's wearing overalls, a red polka dot bandana, and proudly flexes her arm, saying, "We can do it."
Question 6. What year was it that England lifted the ban on women fighting in close combat roles?
I have no idea.
No clue?
No.
Do you want me to give it away now? It was in
Yeah, I don't know.
2016 when the ban was lifted on women fighting.
16!
2016.
I'm shocked with that.
Okay, this is a bit of a spicy question. What is the current gender pay gap in England? And if you get it to the nearest 10, then I'll also allow it.
I did a work on this last year. I'm going to say 1.26, but I don't think it's right.
I need an answer.
I'm going to say 1.26.
That is wrong. In the current UK economic status, men earned 18.4% more.
Okay, question 8. Who is the world's current richest woman in the world?
Isn't she from Angola?
Possibly, maybe.
I'm
not giving clues away yet.
Is the last name Dos Santos?
No.
No.
That's wrong.
I was going to say Kylie Jenner, but isn't that her net worth? Even though she's irrelevant.
She's a self-made woman, apparently. Oprah?
No, it's not Oprah, sorry.
No, Oprah.
Need a final answer?
Hillary Clinton.
No.
Give him the answer, Charlie. Go on.
The answer is Christy Walton. She is worth around currently $4.17 billion, or £29 billion. She's part of the Walton that founded the biggest supermarket chain, Walmart.
All right.
I think you're going to get this next question very quickly. Which famous English feminist actor helped a feminist movement called He for She in 2014?
Emma Watson.
You got it.
Swift answer there. And moving on to the final question, question 10. What percentage of Parliament are women? We need this to the nearest 10.
I would say 30. I'm not sure.
Was that 30?
Yeah.
We'll give you that. It's 32% of Parliament.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Shocking, but yeah.
So I would say you answered most of those correctly. You do seem to be two very good feminists, and you know your history on it.
Woo!
So yeah, there we go. The two Charlies little trivia section done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Thank you for having us.
Well, guys, that is it for today's show.
We would just like to say a big thank you to our interviewees, Shannon, George, Kate, Beth, and of course, Daniela. And a big thank you to Charlie C, Charlie E, Tom G, and Sophie E for being our men and women on the street for conducting some fantastic interviews.
And a big thank you to you as well, Anthony.
Well, it's been a pleasure. So,
guys, we'll be back next week at the same time, same station.
But with yet another controversial subject. But what will it be this time? Find out next week on 50/50.